What is sustainable living? You might ask that because you might not know what it is. It's defined as any lifestyle based on energy saving and environmental responsibility. Some ways I'll mention that is promoted by sustainable living are compost piles or using green materials and sustainable energy. Uh, this one amazing thing I want to mention, I didn't know about this until recently, are green roofs. They're in an urban environment. Green roofs are amazing. Uh, that's where they usually are, is in the urban environment. Main reason I don't know about it is I live in the country, uh, or didn't know about it. They last longer than a conventional roof. They help reduce energy costs because they insulate the houses better. And I mean, since it's pretty much yard on top of your roof in an urban environment, since they don't really have yards, that'd be a yard on top of your roof. I mean, it'd be a peaceful retreat. You could have a bench up there. It'd be like a park, a little mini park. Oh, okay, now compost piles. Anything that decomposes can be put into a compost pile. It's not a good idea to have anything that smells really bad that you don't want to smell in the compost pile. If you don't want to smell it, it's not going to be a good idea. You're not going to like it. Or anything that will attract animals or pests to get into it and mess it up. You'll have to clean it up, and it's not really that helpful. But compost piles are helpful if you don't have pests or if it doesn't smell extremely terrible. Uh, what they are is basically fertilizer. They compost into fertilizer that you can put into your garden or on your yawn lawn if you want to have a great looking lawn. Uh, bad thing is if you're just starting out and you need the fertilizer now, compost pile is not the way to go. It takes time, depending on how big the pile is and what time of year it is. But if you continuously get a compost pile going or several going, you could have it constantly coming out with fertilizer, which will help you out, or you could have it come out fertilizer every time you need it. Uh, Sustainable energy now, like solar panels or the big wind turbines or generators, uh, those not only could you have no electricity bill with those, but you could get paid for the extra electricity that you put out into the grid. I mean, a homeowner with a solar panel rooftop could be paid 4 times to produce the electricity, the same electricity that those coal-fired power plants produce. That's 4 times to make it than it is to pay for it, essentially. But so that's a big difference. That'd be great. Uh, it's possible. It's not probable they get that 4 times rate. It's just I thought it'd be amazing. Uh, Now, bad thing is any form grand enough to pay to any form of panels or turbines grand enough to produce enough for your house and extra is going to be really expensive to buy. Especially, I looked on this bulk website for solar panels, and the cheapest panel on there was $48, and it was only 10 watts. I'm sure there are better on that site. There were better, but there's probably better sites. Like I know there were some that was like 84 cents per watt, but the panels were a lot more expensive than the $48. Because $48 for 10 watts is kind of expensive, especially since 10 watts isn't even enough to power up one light bulb. Uh, Now, green materials or biodegradable materials, they can't are essentially the same thing. There's adobe, cob, bamboo. There's natural fibers like wool, cotton. There's also hemp can be a fiber. It can be many things that are helping green materials. Uh, and there's a ton of other materials out there. If I had mentioned the entire list, this speech would be twice as long. Uh, the thing is, they're renewable, meaning they come back every year. And using green materials and products, they promote conservation of the non-renewable resources that don't come back every year, like metal. It doesn't just poof and it's there. It takes a lot of time to find the metal, get it into what it wants, and versus having like an adobe something or cob or the right kind of wood building. It, thing is, it might not be as easy to find these green materials. Like I said, the right kind of wood. There is wood out there that's not green. Essentially, green living. It doesn't help with the green living. Uh, Many products may seem or may be promoted or look like green materials and products, but if they transported it from China to get it here, it's not sustainable living doesn't promote it because it used all that oil to get it over here, and oil is a non-renewable resource. Or if they use non-renewable resources to manufacture the product, and that's how a green product cannot be green. Now, Adobe and Cobb, they're exactly the same stuff. It's clay and straw, which is very cheap. I mean, you don't even have to open your door to find clay and straw. You can just look out the window and you see it. And it's easy to make. The biggest difference between Adobe and Cobb, like corn on the cob, except not corn but cob. Uh, the Adobe is dried into bricks and then laid like bricks and put in with you can with the and then they use the same clay as mortar to hold the bricks together. Versus cob, which is like instead of forming it into bricks, they form it into the entire wall all at once. So the wall is one piece of cob versus one piece of Adobe would be a brick. Uh, and I mean clay and straw. It's cheap. The uh, the bad thing is the weather wear downs the walls and you have to keep care of it. But it's cheap. You don't have It's extremely cheap. You can get it for free, or if you absolutely want to, you can go out and pay for it, I guess, or pay for someone to keep care of it. Now, I say whenever the weather wears down the walls, I don't mean like one rain and all of a sudden you have no walls. It just it takes a while. There are Adobe buildings out there, like the Alamo would be an Adobe building. It's still standing, and I'm not quite sure if they continually keep care of the walls by putting more Adobe on it. And then there's bamboo, which is another great thing. It grows extremely fast. I mean, it's a wood product. Think of trees. They don't grow fast, but bamboo, it does. Uh, the only bad thing about bamboo is an invasive species. It doesn't grow well with other plants. If you were to plant a pine tree in a bamboo forest, pine tree's gonna die because it doesn't get enough sunlight or something or another. So, and it's really hard to get bamboo away whenever it gets out of control. But it's a great resource, especially since it's wood and trees take forever to grow. It takes forever to get one plank of wood from a tree versus getting one plank of wood from a couple of bamboo. Uh, I hope you learned something from this. I mean, sustainable living might not be as easy as I seem to put it, or as it may seem to be. But there are many more things out there that I didn't mention that could be better suited, that could help better. Compost piles, they're a great way to help out your garden or your lawn, or just a community garden if you don't have a lawn or garden. Sustainable energy, I mean, if you have the money for it, you could be paid. It could pay for itself if you get enough. Uh, Instead of having an electric bill, you'd have an electric check. So from paying to getting paid, be great. Uh, Green materials, they're a great way to reduce costs on building things. I mean, it'd be different if you want to be different. It'd be great. Now, non-renewable material, the costs will only go up because there'll be less of them and there'll be a demand for it, so costs will go up. I hope you learned